So looks like we're live in EXP Family Tree. So hi to you guys that are watching live. I see a bunch of you joining in. If you want to join us Zoom, go ahead and do that. It's just my Zoom link as always. I'm going to let Angie and Nikki take it away, but welcome back. Hope you guys are back in the swing of things for the new year. And remember, as we do this every Monday, it's only 20 minutes or so out of your day, out of your week. And it starts out your day and your week right. And if you can get some of this information and go do something with it, that's the key. What action item can you take after you leave this call that's going to move the needle forward in your business? We can all attend as many trainings and coaching sessions as we possibly can, but if we do nothing with it, the lack of activity is where we have the lack of results. So when Nikki brings something valuable or Angie brings something valuable, like make a note and go, okay, I'm going to go tell this to a prospect that needs to get off the fence, or I'm going to go do a video on my social or send something out to my database or my top prospects. I'm going to go tell a vendor partner something because they need to know it, or it's struck some type of idea in my mind that I can go execute on. And I just want to encourage you guys to go and actually do something with it. So all right, that's all I got, ladies. Take it away.
Thanks, Carrie. All right, well, Nikki, you go. You're up.
All right, awesome. Hello, everyone. So I shared with a group live in person last week about just kind of the 2024 numbers and what we expect mortgage interest rates to do. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about that, get it into just a little bit more detail. I'm going to keep it super high level and, try to keep it super easy on the number side. So like Carrie said, you can have those little nuggets to share with partners, borrowers, or people that are on the fence about listing or selling their homes. So my 2 New Year's resolutions this year is number 1, to get more water intake. That's a huge thing for me this year. And then 2, to, use my magic powers to reduce mortgage interest rates. So if I could do those 2 things, those will be great resolutions for me. So one of the things that influences mortgage interest rates, I talk about it a little bit and I touch base on it and I use the words all the time. What are those inflation numbers? And how does the Fed look at inflation? So we're going to do a little bit deeper dive so you guys can kind of understand why we're saying that in 2024, mortgage interest rates are going to be in the mid-5s. Maybe, stick around the 6s for a little bit, but we're hoping to push into the mid-5s by June, if not July. So a couple of things that affect inflation. I've talked about it before, but one of the key components besides shelter, which is housing and how people rent and how people go on vacation, things of that nature, is what's called the core PCE. The core PCE is just basically personal consumption expenditures. What do we spend on food? How much is that food costing us? What do we spend on energy, i.e. gas, electricity, and how much is that costing us? And that is a huge driver in the Fed's responsibility and what they look at from an inflation standpoint and whether or not they're going to reduce the Fed interest rate. Again, as a reminder, the Fed interest rate does not correlate exactly with mortgage interest rate. It does, however, influence the 10-year Treasury bond, which is what mortgage interest rates are based on. So some predictions were made this year by Barry Habib, who's one of the leading predictors and mortgage people within, who I listen to all the time, who we rely on for a lot of our information. He's amazing at what he does. He has a true understanding of the mortgage industry, of rate history, of things of that nature, and all things Fed. And he's just a really awesome opportunity to be able to listen to and draw some knowledge from. So I'm going to show you some of his screens that he had presented to us over last week. And I apologize, my cat hates it when I'm on Zoom. So if you hear some meowing in the background, that's what it's from. We all have to, do the new normal, right? Which is the cat meowing in the background. So anyway, so he shared just some expectations and some, predictions, if you will, for Fed rates and rate cuts and kind of like what we're going to be seeing. So as I kind of go into this, the expectations for inflation, the Fed's target is 2% on year-over-year core PCE. So that PCE, that personal consumption expenditure. Now, what they start out as is we look at December of 2023, where this is kind of the estimate of the change in the core PCE. And we see that it's going to kind of remain stable through February. We see there's a replacement amount and then a year-over-year number. This year-over-year number and how we calculate this at the January 31st meeting was 2.87 in the PCE. This is the prediction for the remainder of the year. As you can see, this number starts to drop significantly. So as we get into May, the meeting in May and the meeting in June, those PCE numbers are going to drop below that 2% magic mark, which is going to be the trigger to mortgage interest rates dropping. Again, what that means is we have inflation under control, and that just means that as we get inflation under control, those mortgage interest rates respond in a positive manner. Okay, so you can kind of see that these are the meetings where the Fed is going to meet, and this is how we expect the prediction to happen. Okay, so we're really going to see, really by this March meeting, the Fed is going to be extremely tempted to drop that Fed interest rate, because going into May, they're going to see that number decrease significantly enough to where it's like, okay, now we really need to decrease. So what does that mean? Here's the prediction on the percentage of chance that the Fed is going to drop the interest rate over the year. Okay, so this means that, you know, obviously there was only a 7% chance in January. It did not happen. In March, we're looking at a 68% of them dropping the Fed interest rates to kind of say, okay, you know, we're going to do this. But look at this, by May 1st, we have a 94% chance of them dropping that interest rate by 50 basis points. Basis points mean percentage points. So like 50 basis points is half a percentage point. So just kind of that correlation that you guys can see. So you can see that as we move along throughout the year, we're going to see awesome drops in these interest rates, and we're going to see that they are going to be dropping those mortgage interest rates throughout the year. So what does this mean for you guys? So let me just stop sharing my screen here. Perfect. And basically what we can talk to our buyers about, what we can talk to our sellers about, is the changes that that's going to initiate in the market. Interest rates go down, home prices and home sales go up. We do still have a lack of inventory, but all those people that sat there the first time around in 2020 and 2021 and said, I'm really just not quite ready to sell, or who may have felt like they missed the boat, are going to start to say, oh, I'm not missing it this time around. I want to take advantage of the appreciation in my home this time around and the advantage to sell it. And I truly believe that we're going to have an opportunity for us to see a lot more sales this year. So all good things coming out of the inflation numbers, all great things coming out in the rate predictions. So that's kind of where we're going for 2024.
Awesome. That was good. And I know we talked a little bit more about, do you want to touch a little bit how you explained like the March, April, May timeframe about how the prices will take a little bit of time to catch up, just for the people listening live or on the replay? Because I think that was so important in order to have conversations with those people you just mentioned, or even people that maybe are still in our pipeline, or we're even working with at this time.
Yeah. So if you guys remember, so I was talking about how a couple significant things happened at the end of December that kind of pushed ourselves into this market. So first and foremost, the interest rate dropped. Interest rates dropped significantly, a full percentage point in a matter of a couple weeks. That's a huge change in our industry, a huge change in the way that interest rates behave. That 1% drop is a lot of money for a lot of homeowners. It gives them $40,000 to $50,000 that they can work with as far as purchasing on average, of course, depending on purchase price and things of that nature. With that being said, the second thing that happened is we saw the appreciation numbers came out for home values. What that means is homes still appreciated 4 to 5%, depending on market. Overall, United States average 4 to 5%. For your home. So even in a year when interest rates were increasing, your home value was going up, which is huge. Now, the appreciation for 2024 is predicted to be around 7 to 8%. Of course, those are extremely preliminary numbers. As the market gets going and as we see interest rates to come down, those appreciation numbers are expected to increase. The reason for that is it all has its basis on affordability. As interest rates come down, home prices tend to go up. But as Angie was saying, indicating, there is a gap of time where you have those interest rates come down and the home prices haven't exactly had the tolerance to go up yet. They kind of are in reaction to people's tolerances and what they're willing to pay and what they're willing to have their payment at. So right now we're in the 6 to 8 week gap where we are finding that interest rates are down-ish and home prices are still staying at where they were before. Homes that are still staying on the market are still there, and you can really negotiate a really good deal on a home right now, or at least make an offer on a home, knowing that interest rate is where it is right now, and it'll come down over this year, and you can look at different opportunities to strategize and say, okay, it's more important for me to get a home at a good price than it is for me to wait for those interest rates to go down into that 5% range. So that's just kind of what I was saying, is that like right now it's like a 6 to 8 week kind of nice time where we can start to encourage buyers who are on the fence and start to encourage, you know, any sellers that are listing or things like that to just say, okay, we can talk through different opportunities and options for buyers.
Yeah. So big. Absolutely. And then I know, and this is definitely a plug for you because it was an amazing conversation we had there. You had talked about what if you lock in right now, but the closing isn't
Yep.
until, so I'd love, touch base on that.
Yes.
I think it's
So
so
with
powerful.
the Fed meeting in March, remember on the charts that I was showing there, there's that 78% chance that they're going to lower the interest rate by that time. So with that being said, if you're talking about buyers who are coming in and they write a purchase agreement in February and all of a sudden they're closing mid-March, early April, what we can do is we can lock them in an interest rate anytime. But if during that time that they're locked in and we're doing the loan process and we get to 3 days before closing, 5 days before closing, that interest rate has dropped, we can do what's called a relock, which means that we go back to the investor and we say, hey, when we locked this client in, the rate was 6.5%. We're seeing the same scenario for that same client now at 6%. We want to relock in the same loan. In other words, take that same pool of money and reserve it on a lower interest rate instead of the original interest rate. We can do that for a client. It costs them no money. It is a service that we provide because if we, basically what it means, like if we say to the investor, let's say we're going with Fannie and we have it locked at 6.5%, we can just say, oh, we'll just lock it with Freddie at 6% and then you guys are out. So so what they do is they say, no, just kidding, just relock with us. It's fine. Just keep your money with us, that type of thing. So it's kind of like this game that we're playing. And we can do that in order to benefit the client. Now, keep in mind that when they do lock in their interest rate, if interest rates go up, they do not get punished by that at all. They're just locked in at that rate. So it's an opportunity for them to lower that interest rate. The strategy being that get your home locked in, get your purchase agreement locked in February, so that when you do close in March or April, we're seeing the benefit of those lower interest rates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
Is that on conventional as well?
It's it's across the board.
Okay.
So you can do that across the board, conventional, VA, FHA, RD. Some jumbo investors will do that as well.
Yeah. And Nikki, real quick, what is your cell phone number for anyone listening that wants to learn more or have a conversation with you right away?
It's 952-484-1584.
Put that in the notes too. Call her, text her, jump on a call because this is something that we need to stay very informed of. And I encourage you, if you can't get to these calls live every Monday, definitely watch the replay because it's going to be changing and you bring such great information and you've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost too long. No, I think, what did we say? I'm 25 years into a 30-year sentence.
Yeah. No, that's right. That's right. Yes. So Carrie, anything in the live stream or any questions that I'm missing or anything come up from your end?
No, we have a number of people watching, but I don't see anything in the chat. So let's open it up here and see if there's anything. And then I don't know if you have any other tips or tricks on the mindset or motivation, you can do that after. But does anybody have questions about what the market's doing and what you should be talking to your buyers or sellers about, or any specific scenarios that any of us could help you with? Just unmute if you do.
Yeah. I know there's people off camera watching, so yeah. I don't see anything.
I'm just gonna watch here and make sure nobody is asking a question on the live stream because they do have to type underneath. So just 1 second here.
When I can jump into what I have prepared as
Yeah.
well and go ahead and stop me if you need to.
Yeah.
What's coming through a lot for the elite coaching clients that I'm working with and just feeling into this new year and new resolution that people are setting. And sometimes, a lot of people, 97 out of 100 will kind of falter. And it's when you falter, how do you pick yourself back up, whether it's a New Year's resolution or getting off your goal? And what I like to talk about, what I've been leaning into a lot is the 1% better. So if you commit to becoming 1% better every day, you are at your worst version of yourself right now in this moment. And if you think about that, whether it's surrounding yourself with new information or watching different content that will bring you education or joining these calls or really just pouring into yourself and watching the environment you're around. And if you continue to be around the same energy that's kind of holding you down or holding you back or not getting you from, you know, where you know you need to be, maybe it's the same people, same complaining, same stories, same scenarios, all of that, really stop. And it's about awareness, becoming aware of what you're surrounding yourself with. It's just so very, very important. And I just got off a call actually. And one of the things I said that hit home with them was that I can promise you one thing and one thing only. I can go to the bank with this 100%, guarantee this to be true. If your goal is big enough and if it's worthy enough of you, and if you don't know how to get it, you just know that's what you want, I guarantee you, you will not get there from who you are today. You need to change, you need to grow, you need to become 1% better every day. And it's through the compounding of 1% better every day that at the end of the year, you will need a telescope to look back to see who you once were. But it's making the decision every day to recommit to your goal. And that's why your goal is so important, that it inspires you, that you get up excited about it. Because if it's not your goal, maybe you set a goal because someone else thought that's what you should have or thought that's what you should do. Think about that. It needs to inspire you because you need to commit to it every single day. Make the irrevocable committed decision that this is what I'm going for no matter what. Because your habitual behaviors and your paradigms and those thoughts and all the reasons why, yeah, no, I did enough yesterday, I don't need to do it today, or you know, I went on a long walk yesterday, I can skip it today, or all these things that we do to rationalize ourselves, they'll continue to creep in and creep up. And if you don't call it, see it, be aware of it, and then make a different decision, it will just pull you back down and your goal, dream, desire will disappear. And that's why 90% of the people stay stuck, because they let the programming control them. So really think about how you can show up as a better version of yourself, 1% better every day. And if you need some different ways to go about that, if you want to have a conversation, I'm happy to jump on a call because it's so very, very important. And it changed everything for me. And I know it can for you as well, if that's what you need.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Any thoughts or ahas? I'm just curious what people are going to do with this information, because I'm all about, first of all, you have to think correctly. So that's where Angie comes in, because mindset. So how you think about something is how you feel about it, and how you feel about it makes you act or not act. So we have the information from Nikki. We have the thought pattern that needs to be correct. And if we have those two things, we're going to feel excited, empowered, like we want to get the word out, confident, you know, all the things that we need to feel in order to actually get into some action. So if you're committing to showing up to this every Monday, starting your week off right, filling your mind with education and the right mindset so that you can get into a consistent action every single week. Because if you did that for 52 weeks or even 50 weeks or 48 weeks, depending upon if you're taking some time off and we have holidays in there, think about that. Even if doing one thing differently for 48 times in a year, that's a 1%, you know, change in your business that equates to 48% change in your business, which is absolutely going to make your business grow. That's the commitment level that I hope many of you can see that this is an opportunity for. So what would you do with the information that you heard today, or what do you feel like you could do? Anybody? Give each other some ideas. I'm going to look and see if anybody's commenting. We have like 14 people watching live. So you guys that are watching live, you can talk to us too. Make sure you comment. We've
Hey
got
guys, sorry I'm off video,
Hey,
but
Chrissy.
so I mean, Nikki and I work together a lot. So I would say that we're pretty good about communicating on a pretty regular basis about our clients that, you know, may have not engaged for a while.
Yep.
Like how do we kind of tag team our approach as to how we're reaching out and following up with those potential buyers.
I like it.
You know, so like she'll reach out and then maybe I'll follow up the next week. But it's really just tag teaming and staying in contact with them, and letting them know kind of how things are changing with the market, and obviously staying top of mind.
Yeah.
How do you
Chrissy, I
guys share
love that.
leads? How do you share your prospects together? Is it through a CRM? Do you have a spreadsheet? Like, what do you guys do? How often? Like, that's just a good strategy, whether we're talking about working with, you know, with Nikki, hopefully many of you, and I know many of you are, but even if you're not, whoever it is that you're working with, how are you doing that? That's an important process. So how do you guys do it?
So we don't have a shared CRM. However, I personally live and die by a CRM. It's basically any contact that I've had with prospects, clients, whatever that is over the years, I've built up the CRM and kept track of those contacts. So really for me, it was just a practice of going through and saying, okay, how many prospects did I have last year? What was the end result? Anyone that fell out or anyone that ended up renting, or maybe they didn't buy because they were in a job transition or whatever that reasoning was, it's saying, okay, how can I come talk to Chrissy and say, let's get on the phone or let's have a text conversation, say who's gonna, you know, here's who we had last year, here's who didn't buy for whatever reason, how can we re-engage them or can we re-engage them? And then what's that and who's going to make the contact, and just start to lay out, even it doesn't have to be a very complicated plan. It just has to be a who's going to touch base. How did that go? You know, that type of thing. And then just keeping up on it. I mean, I've done that, you know, for years. That's kind of one of my practices in January, is to say, okay, who didn't buy and for what reason, and how can we re-engage them this year? So it's a very good, you know, opportunity. And Chrissy and I, like I said, it's just a simple phone call. It doesn't have to be super complicated. It's just a matter of keeping the notes and making sure you understand who you contacted over the months.
Well, and I think the biggest thing that I can insert right here very quickly is, if you're new or if you've been doing this for over 20 years, really look at your business partners. Because Nikki, I know many lenders that I've worked with over the past, I don't hear from them. Like, can you imagine what my business could look like if I had an extension of my business, which is your loan officer, which is your inspector, which title, all, you know, that person advocating and working for you and helping you and reminding you. I mean, it is just priceless. So
Invaluable,
think
yeah.
about, as we're going into 2024, who are your business partners and how are they helping you expand and do these type of things? Because it's, with the technology and everything is available, there's no reason why they shouldn't be, and yet so many aren't. So I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you just have to start your CRM this year, that's a great resolution. It might be a huge undertaking, but you got to start somewhere. A little bit each day, a little bit each week. It makes a huge difference in business. It runs my life. It runs my business.
1% better every day. I love it.
There you go.
There's a book out there by, is it Mylard or something like that? It's 1% better. And then, you know, one thing that always comes back to haunt me when I don't follow up is not following up is telling your clients you don't care.
Very true.
Yeah.
Or you're not interested in their life, or not
Or you're
interested.
too busy.
No,
Yeah.
that's a good one. So we always think we're bothering them, but really they'll find someone else if you're not going to stay top of mind.
They will.
The tough pill to swallow, and I've swallowed it too many times. So it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
good. Well, thank
Awesome.
you.
Awesome, you guys. We're going to stick to our time frame, but think about one thing that you want to do and go do it. Those of you watching online, thanks for joining us. You can always join via Zoom, which is my Zoom link. You guys know what that is. We do have another really great session on Wednesday, same Zoom link, 11 a.m. Pacific. Calculate that in your time zone, 1 Central, 2 Eastern. I think that's going to be a great call. And we have something lined up for every Wednesday. You can find the lineup. It was posted in EXP Family Tree, or go ahead and reach out to me if you still need it. You know where to find me on work chat. And yeah, otherwise you can find me anywhere on social. If you're not with EXP and you're liking this information or have some questions, reach out to us. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Sunday.